Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Mad Hatter Radio, reporting live from the aftermath. And this go around, I don't really have anything specific to talk about, like nothing that really happened in the news or, nothing that people have been paying attention to specifically. But I do kind of want to talk about, a trend that I have been seeing recently. Not necessarily recently, I guess, you can always make the argument that it might be one of those things where the older you get, the more aware you become. So things start to feel like they're changing, but maybe they were always the same. But at least, in my life, this is what it kind of feels like we're moving toward, at least. So, I'm noticing a lot about people, just watching social media and things that people post about. I think you can tell a lot about what's on someone's mind. So, just kind of going through, social media, you can see people do these things, for some of the older folks that might be listening, the more mature folks, excuse me. There's this thing called like subtweeting. It's basically like, and you can do this on any platform, but it's basically like, you mean to say something about someone specifically, but you don't really call their name out. You don't really call them out. You just kind of subtly put something out there, kind of vague, but it's really about that person or about a situation. Uh, so I think a lot of times, social media tells a lot about um, who we are in the inside. Who we really are, who kind of wants to come out. Because every once in a while, you can catch some people really posting their feelings on there, especially people who have more anonymous accounts. So I notice a lot, just by kind of watching social media, and in my mind, I see a lot of people basically being pushed and pulled in many different directions. And it's almost like people, I hate to say it, man, but people aren't really using their minds, in my opinion. Uh, it's almost like if someone, just a famous person says believe this way, and people just jump on it, and it's really beginning to feel like that. Like especially, I've been on Twitter. I don't like to use Twitter because I learned some stuff from it, but it's very much like there are these groups where they're made specifically for one type of thinking, and you can't break through to these bubbles. And so it's really hard to get like new information and for everyone to kind of learn it because everyone's in their own bubble. And it's like the Twitter mob, man. And I kind of mentioned this last time, but there's some good things about Twitter, but there's a lot of bad things too. I guess it's just with anything. But I'm on Twitter and I'm looking at like, all right, so someone doesn't agree with, you know, scenario A. And so everyone's responding to that scenario by like not bringing evidence up front. They're just saying, "Oh, this person is stupid," or "This person wrote this," or "This person put this thought out there," or "This idea that's stupid." And then everyone's retweeting it, and like it's a bunch of jokes and like child's play. But nobody's actually there to like to learn from different perspectives. Really, if you really break it down, we really don't want to learn from different perspectives, and that's what I'm getting by watching social media sometimes. It's not very conductive behavior, I guess. So yeah, I think people are getting pushed and pulled by movies, the media. I know movies falls into media, but I also mean like news, online news, television, and cable news. People are getting pushed and pulled by their family and friends. There's as humans, I feel like we're at a weird state as human beings. Um, and I'm gonna tell you kind of I'm gonna try to like really get down to what I'm really thinking about. More specifically, this wasn't really specific, but I do want to bring this up, this specific point. So basically, nobody's telling the full story, and I was thinking about this by so this whole kind of rant I'm going on. I was thinking about it by watching. I was watching a video on Instagram from David Banner, this old school rapper. Not really old school, I guess old school by today's terms, but yeah, he's a rapper, and he's kind of like a conscious thinker too, like a conscious thinker. So he was making a comment about the NFL kneeling, and I've been tired of the debate going back and forth, asking people to, or watching people beg the NFL to let Colin Kaepernick play. You know how I feel. Obviously, I support Colin Kaepernick, but at the same time, I'm like, who cares about the NFL, man? It's not really that serious. Like, what do you mean he needs to play? Like, no, he doesn't need to play in the NFL. Like, why would you want to play in a league anyway that doesn't like you? So David Banner was making this point about kneeling. Well, even before I get to that, I do want to say I think that Kaepernick has a point to bring up some social injustices that are going on, and I think the owners of the NFL also have a point. Because it's not about necessarily free speech in this situation because it's their league. Um, but there's consequences for both sides. There's consequences for Colin Kaepernick, basically meaning that you're blacklisted in the NFL, and there's consequences for the NFL and the owners, meaning that they either have the potential of losing money, and they also are going to lose some of their reputation. Um, but David Banner made this point that was really interesting to me about like the symbolism behind what Colin Kaepernick is doing, and like it kind of gets back to the earlier point of the debate where Colin Kaepernick was trying to be like respectful. So because at first he was like, I think he was sitting down, but a veteran, he had met with a veteran or excuse me, I think an active duty member, and they told him, hey man, maybe you shouldn't sit down, but at least kneel because at least you're showing your respect to the flag, which is really interesting because so many people on one side are against him because they say he's disrespecting the flag, but the soldier asked him specifically said kneel to the flag, and David Banner brought up the point. If you really think about it, he's kneeling like, and somebody else brought this. Many people have brought this up before. It's like kneeling is an act of like submission in a lot of cultures, in a lot of ways, and in this post I was watching, David Banner was saying, he's like, dude, don't like you kneel to your God. And I started to think about it. I was like, wow, like, is this really doing some weird thing of like making black people in a weird way by like you? It's like almost using our energy, a lot of negative energy, and we're still kneeling to quote unquote our God. So that's why I'm like, I just want to pull out of the whole thing, and that's why I have been for the most part. Like, obviously, it's stupid to hear, the president just dog where these people are coming from and not even try to understand where they're coming from. But I don't care, man, and I don't think a lot of people should care at all about this situation. Uh, but it really does make me think like they're using our energy, negative energy, which I really think that this system is really based on. It's about trying to twist your energy and make it into the energy like because they feed off of fear. They feed off of I think when I say they, I'm talking about the people who run this beast system. They feed off of fear and sadness and aggression and hate, all those negative vibrations they feed off of, and they're turning that into a weird form of us still, um, you know, bowing down and praying to them, kneeling to our God. That's why I'm like, I'm not kneeling for you know, I'm not kneeling for nothing. All right, I'm only kneeling again for my God or my idea of a God, but I ain't kneeling for nobody else's cause for the most part. I support my brothers and what they're doing and bringing attention to social injustices and economic injustices and the injustices of this country and the injustices by the police. But I just don't want to put my energy there. I'd rather put my energy in different places and use it in different ways. So my overall point is not just for black people, but in this, I do want to speak to black people, and I want us to stop trying to acquiesce white people and stop looking for their approval, And that goes for anyone, any race, creed, gender, whatever you are. Stop, and I understand it's tough because we live in a situation that is run by one demographic, but at the same time, we need to, I think, dig inside of ourselves and build our things from the ground up. We really got to sacrifice and be able to sacrifice that people might not like us. Society might not like us. We can't have it both ways. We can't want to make change and be a difference in a major difference in the world and really, make money and make a name for yourself and have power and also have everybody like you and try to acquiesce to the same people that you're fighting against. We can't keep doing that. We have to make some sacrifices, and it's tough. And I'm saying this even to me, man, because I've been knocked off the wagon. I've been doing my thing, and then I take a step off for a second. So at the end of the day, I want to put it like this: like I think we have to seek our own validation and approval. It's tough, but we really have to do that, and that's for everyone. But in this instance, especially Black people, we have to stop looking for the approval and validation from white people and from white society. And when I say white society, I don't mean every white person. I mean the overarching idea of what it means to be a white person, you know? Because even a lot of white people can't even live up to that. Even a lot of white people don't like that part of society, you know? So I'll leave that there. And, actually, before I leave that there, I do want to say this is a time and age where we have so much power as people. I have the opportunity to connect with people through, the internet, through this YouTube, through podcasting, through blogging, through so many different ways. We need to capitalize on that and really use that to do what we want to do. So I'll leave that there. As always, everyone, thank you for listening in. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you can give me a like, I'd really appreciate that too. And leave a comment, subscribe, if you're new to this channel. And as always, stay woke.